What's good, R&B squad? This is Heart of Ruth. I trust that this message meets you guys in good spirits. If you are new to this family, we don't believe that you're here by accident. Welcome. We're happy to have you, and Jesus is, of course, always happier. This is going to be more of a teaching word than a prophetic word, and it actually was inspired by God putting it on my heart to speak on it, and also by an email that I was sent by this young lady who was looking for some guidance. Now, I'm not going to say her name, obviously, for privacy reasons, but sis, you'll know who you are. And I hope you're hearing this so that it can address. I've already responded to you via email, but hopefully this is going to add to what I've already said to you. So the young lady said that she is a dreamer, that God speaks to her primarily through her dreams, and that she approached some of the people that she sees as mentors at her church, and she expressed this to them. And more than one of these people told her that she should ignore her dreams because dreams are not a valid way of God speaking with you, or they're not a valid way to confirm that God is speaking with you. And I was so taken aback by this. I was mad and I was taken aback because, first of all, how dare these people? These people are supposed to be mentors and elders in the church. So, first of all, how dare they invalidate this young woman's gift? And then the other thing is, how dare they spread false information about God? I mean, it's one thing to have an opinion, it's another thing to spread false information about God. If you're an elder at a church, you're a leader, you're in a leadership position, you ought to know that in the Bible, there is record of people whom God spoke with primarily through their dreams. And there were some very important messages that were conveyed via dreams, and I can use some examples. I may not have had the opportunity to go and get all of the exact scriptures, but believe you me, I'm going to find them by the time I'm done here and put them in the description box so you guys can go and look for yourselves. But there's record in the Bible of God speaking with people, with prophets, primarily through their dreams. So I'm here to say that some of y'all are dreamers, you're seers, you see in the spirit, and you have dreams and you have visions. Some of you have only dreams, some of you have only visions, some of you have dreams and visions. Some of you can see and hear. And you may have come across individuals who may have tried to dumb your gift down. They may have told you, well, you can't be sure if you're hearing from God if it's a dream. You can be sure. How do you know that dream was from God? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. As you grow in your walk with the Lord, as you become closer to Him, and you offer that dream space of yours, you recognize the fact that you have a gift, and you dedicate your gift, your dream space, your visions to the Lord, there is going to come a point that the Lord is going to consecrate that dream space. He is going to consecrate those visions, and the enemy is not even going to have an opportunity to get in there. He's not even going to have an opportunity. So don't let nobody tell you, well, it might be that came from the Nah, sis, nah, bro. After a while, your discernment is going to be so strong that you will know when the enemy is playing a trick and when the Lord sent you a word. You're going to know the difference. And when the enemy realizes he can't trick you that easily, he's not going to even try because he knows he can't. It's all about getting closer to God and allowing Him to refine your gift. I'm not saying the enemy is not going to try to mess with your visions, that he's not going to try to mess with your dreams. But it's a totally different ballgame when you tap into those dreams and those visions and you know that they are from God and you know your gift is from God. Then it's not so easy for the enemy to fool you with his illusions. And for this young lady, for those people who are saying to you, those supposed elders and leaders at your church who are saying to you that dreams are not a valid way for God to speak to you. Well, what about Joseph? Joseph's whole marriage was saved because God spoke to him in a dream. The wise men who went and brought gifts to the newborn Christ, their lives were saved through a dream. God spoke with them through a dream, told them that Pharaoh was trying to kill them and that they shouldn't go back. When there was about to be famine in Egypt, Pharaoh was warned through a dream. When Joseph was shown by God whom he was going to be, he was shown through a dream. Daniel the prophet, God spoke with Daniel primarily through his dreams. He was both a seer, a dreamer, and a dream interpreter. So for the individuals who are saying to this young lady, and for anybody for that matter, who says that dreams are not a valid way for God to speak to you, well then, and visions aren't a valid way for God to speak to you, then why did the whole concept of seer even exist? Why does the whole concept of being a seer and being able to see in the spirit even exist? The Bible says young men, old men will dream dreams and young men will have visions. Why does the Bible emphasize dreams and visions if these are not valid ways for God to speak with people? If these are not valid ways for God to speak with his prophets? And I'll share something of my personal experience with y'all. Those of you who can see in the spirit, those of you who are seers, and you know you're a seer because this is not something that started happening to you last night or last week. This is something that has been with you your whole life. Now, for some people, this gift, this ability to see in the spirit happens only in adulthood. But for others of you, this has been happening to you since you were a child. It's been happening to you longer than you even understood what was going on. You just know you used to have dreams, and then the next thing you know, the same thing happens in real life. And it used to freak you out. For some of y'all, it freaked you all the way out. You didn't want nothing to do with it. You did not want nothing to do with it. And it was the same thing with me. Man, I ran from my prophetic gift so much. I spent so much of my youth running from my prophetic gift. Do you hear me? Because I was so terrified of it. But I'll tell you what I know for sure. Before I even knew what a prophetic gift was, I knew I would see something in my dreams, and then sure enough, it would happen in real life. Exactly the way I saw it. And back then, because I was younger and I wasn't very mature in my gift, the Lord used to show me a lot of things and allow me to take it at face value. So he'd show me exactly what it was. He would not use anything metaphorical. He would not use any symbolism. He would just show me the way it was. So for example, I'm going to give you all an example. When my great-grandmother was going to die, the Lord showed me that my great-grandmother was going to die. He didn't use no metaphors, no symbolism. He just showed me plain that my great-grandmother was going to die. And so I knew she wasn't going to make it. She was sick. And the doctors were doing everything that they could for her. But I knew already, because that hadn't been the first time that I'd had a dream and it came to pass. I sat there dreading the doctors coming back to my parents and saying to them, she didn't make it, because I knew that was what would happen. And I'm sharing this with y'all. This is so personal, and I feel so vulnerable sharing this with y'all. I just want you guys who have the prophetic gift and are able to see in the spirit to understand how precious this is. And don't let nobody who can't even, they're not even sure if they're hearing right from God. They don't even hear right from God, but they're trying to tell you how to listen. Don't let anybody out here who isn't even hearing right from the Lord tell you how to listen. Don't let anybody tell you, oh, all you do is dream. Well, God can't talk to you through dreams. You can't be sure about dreams. Don't let nobody tell you that. And I know there are people that are going to disagree with me. That's fine. That is fine. You can disagree. But I'm speaking from my personal experience. And I'm drawing on record in the Bible of the Lord speaking to major prophets through dreams. And again, for those of you who get confused, you're a dreamer, you can see in the spirit, or you have visions, or both. You get a little confused sometimes. You wonder, is this from God or is this from the enemy? Keep trusting God. Keep getting closer to God. Eventually, you are going to know the difference. And you're going to get so good at knowing the difference that the enemy's attacks on your dream space are going to become less and less. And then another thing, make sure you keep yourself clean. If you are a seer in the spirit, even if you hear from God, keep yourself clean, because you give the enemy, and when I say keep yourself clean, I mean spiritually clean. Set yourself apart. So watch what you consume. Watch the things that you go to, your go-to form of entertainment, what you listen to, the people you hang around with. Because if your space is not clean in the natural, it cannot be clean in the spirit realm. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you, let's say that you're a seer, you receive visions, you dream dreams, or you hear in the spirit, and then you go and listen to some rap music with a whole bunch of cussing in it, or any kind of music that's very sexual or very profane, or you go and watch a movie where they're murdering somebody, cutting them up, or you even hang around people who cuss a lot and speak explicitly about sex and things like that. You are literally opening a door for the enemy to come in and mess up your dream space, for him to come in and mess up your vision, for him to come in and mess up your hearing. Because now all of a sudden, instead of dreaming and having messages from the Lord, now you dream in some man trying to have sex with you in your dreams, some woman trying to lay up with you. And why is that? Because if you trace it back, you were watching something with some sort of provocative scene in it, or you were listening to somebody talk about whoever they had a one-night stand with the night before. Watch your associates, the people that you associate with at this time, while you grow closer to God and while you grow in your gifts. And not just that, watch what you consume. That is so important. This is something that I've been meaning to put a word out on. And thank God that young lady, thank you, young lady, for sending me that question and for seeking guidance on this topic, because this is something the Lord I have been meaning to speak on this for a while, and I kept putting it off. So your email nudged me to speak on it. Keep your space, your physical space, clean. Do not absorb things that are not of God, because that is going to give the enemy entryway to mess up your dreams, to mess up your hearing, to mess up your visions. But as long as you're keeping yourself clean, as long as you dedicate your dream space and dedicate your visions and your hearing to the Lord, after a while, and trust me on this, I'm speaking from experience, after a while, the enemy is going to know he can't mess with you. He's going to know that if he tries, you're going to know the difference. He's going to know that if he tries to warp the messages, he tries to scramble the signal somehow and make you have some sort of dream or vision that is not of God, you are immediately going to know the difference. And because he knows that, he ain't going to try it with you that often. He still might try now and again, but not very often, because he knows he's not going to succeed. He only tries the same tricks on people whom he knows is going to work on. So again, do not let anybody out here, just because their wires are crossed, tell you that your gift is invalid. Walk in your gift. I hope that this message taught somebody something. I love you guys. I will be back with another word as soon as the Lord releases me. Take care.